care sciences. And as far as the associations are concerned, it is very pathetic to say that we have a lot of international, we have a lot of associations from the international to national to local media, but like any other associations or like any other social, social groups, we are also crossing very hard times. But still, I request all the BHMS aspirants, all the PG aspirants in our nation to be a part of any association which you think right. During our college day, there was no associations. Only one of the contemporary association was there. For the many ideas which we cannot join them, we formed our own association. That is IHMA. In the beginning, it was KHMGA, and it grew into a national and then into an international to a certain extent. Still, I remain open to be associated with any of the associations in India who do something good for homeopathy. We cannot expect 100% better contributions from all associations, but anybody who shed something for the homeopathy should be recognized. And I request all the beginners in the homeopathy to be associated, because we are very, nowadays, many of the students are very selfish. They think about only practice and they think about the money making, everything. See, if you give one bread to homeopathy, it will return 3 breads. That is what life has made us to understand. Just contribute a little. I assure you that homeopathy will return the same with in. So many our students are hesitating to take a membership of any of the association. Many of the students are here resisting themselves from becoming a subscriber for a journal. Many of the students are keeping very, very what we call as a different attitude from attending a seminar. Nowadays, Zoom conferences is also become a very, very, very what we call as a very small groups, very small audience, attended by a small audience. So I remember in one of the seminars when I asked my teacher, sir, attending a whole seminar, we can get only 1 point. I remember what was that point he conveyed was that in eruptive fevers, I just asked him a question, whether we can give the indicated medicine in the first stage of the illness, like measles, like chickenpox or some, or dengue or any fevers, whether we can give the constitutional drug or whether we can give the deep, if sulfur comes to be the remedy for the illness, whether we can give sulfur. Replied me, if you find sulfur is the remedy, don't give it in high, give it in low. Because being an eruptive fever, or if the fever is supposed to be a soric fever, which has eruption as a counterpart, it has a additional or auxiliary symptom. If you give the constitutional drug little bit higher than the required, it will bring unnecessary aggravation of the symptoms. For the whole 2 hours proceedings, I got a wonderful point, which I still remember. This happened 20 years back. And this is what, when we participate in a Praful Vijayakar seminar, we get something from his thinking methodology, which arises us to a certain. So I have a kind appeal to all of the hearing audiences in this Zoom conference. Just participate wherever there is a homeopathic topic is discussed, wherever there is a homeopathic personality is revealing his experience or sharing his experience, because these are the mouth-to-mouth experiences we have to imbibe in our life to become a good homeopath. So that is the point what I talked regarding homeopathy with associations, because if you go North India, even today we have South Delhi Association of Homeopaths. It has a history of more than 70 years. See, Dr. Yudhvir Sinha was one of the founder president of that association. Still it has a 70 years of history to tell. Only thing is that whether the recent guys are right persons to carry out the baton, but let it be there, because they are keeping the ball moving. That is great contribution from today's homeopathic leaders. So we have to be associated with any kind of associations which contributes for or popularizing homeopathy. That is what I have to talk to the new gen aspirants of BHMS course. Anyway, next is homeopathy as a department. I am a government servant. I am a government as literally it tells it is CMO, but I want to say myself as a medical officer in department of homeopathy. So all people are not lucky. All state of our nation don't have a homeopathic department. Only UP and Kerala state has a separate department for homeopathy, and both of the state have around 2,000 institutions. That is not a minor job. We have 2,000 institutions, but still, if you want to contribute homeopathy, if you want to save suffering people, the best way is the private practice. I remember my teacher, Dr. KJ Isaac sir, where he repeatedly says the importance of single dose, the importance of classical homeopathy, the importance of direction of cure. For the 3 or 4 years till sir retired from our college, what is the single dose was a very relevant question, which today's homeopathic teachers are hesitating to ask, because to keep the classical principles close to our hearts and practice homeopathy is a very, very difficult. The first 3 years is very difficult, like any other professional course. And once you complete 2 or 3 years, you will have cases and you will have money. Before that, you will have cases, no money. And if you surpass 10 years, you just skip into your clinic, patients will start coming in one by one. It is what I experienced in my clinic. I was a very, very lazy fellow working for anything, for most probably it is for homeopathy association or something like that.
You are muted.
And okay. I must say, just I step into my clinic, people start coming. And today also till 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the evening, I have patients. It is not because of my effort. It is not due to the God's grace. And what I say, I keep the homeopathic principles of single remedy, detailed case taking, and analysis of case, reviewing the case, analyzing the follow-ups, identifying the failures, and that sharpens my prescribing skills. So holding the principles as close as possible is the need of the hour. No combinations, no patent medicine, no inappropriate wordings regarding the homeopathy nearby practicing us. Keep yourself clean and everything will be showered to you. That is why homeopathy repeatedly proves that it is a true science, and it is a science with all the features of a science in nature. That is, this is not something new, but it was already there in the nature and found out by Hahnemans and later on our classical teachers. So that is what I have to say regarding Department of Homeopathy. And I wish to say that if once we become government servants, we have nowadays two bosses. One, the local, our own department boss, and the second one is the LSGD, or the local self-government president or mayor, what we call. And to obey two boss, that is a great job. And within the constraints of the rules and regulations of our nation, we have to work very cautiously, because we can be catched at a simple error on our side. So remain true, remain straightforward is very difficult to nowadays. So many people may be lucky to become government servants, but always my mind is with private practitioners. I always very eagerly give my ear to the difficulties of my brethren who struggle for their livelihood. But I must say, dear friends, those who shed their sweat, those who shed their blood, and those who shed their everything for homeopathy, I assure you that you will reap wonders, as in money, as in fame, and as in friendship, as in relations, everything. Your name and fame will automatically come. There is no other short way to reach that heights. I bow my head to the greatest teachers of from India, Anil Khurana sir, our Dr. K.J. Isaac, Dr. Ravi M. Nair, Dr. Prasad sir of Calicut, Dr. Pragasham sir of Calicut, who sowed the seed for homeopathy in Kerala. And nowadays we reap what they sow. So next, it is our chance to contribute something so that homeopathy emerges as the best science appreciated by the common mass of our land. So that is what the department outside what I have to say. If once you become a department, the administration with you, if you have ideas, if you have commitment, if you have the mind to to take the sword on your shoulder, surely contribute a lot in. Thing is that we are not marked as something which requires a different group of activities. In Ayurveda, you see, we have the pharmaceutical companies sponsoring everything, but I must say hardly that our pharmaceuticals are striving ahead. They don't have crores of turnovers, and they don't have patronages from the government side, neither from the neither from the profession. So we hardly receive a little, only a short sponsorship we can expect from their side. So all the researches has to be come from individualistic scientists in homeopathy. In allopathy, we have the pharmaceuticals sponsored research and everything. So if anybody thinks that research in homeopathy is the need of the hour, we have to something from the, we have to expect something masters from individual classical teachers, who have shed everything for finding out the truth from truth for homeopathy and popularize homeopathy as a science. So government sponsored researches is very difficult nowadays. Okay. Because rules and regulations, the control of the ICMR, and to design a research is in homeopathy is like making a suit which is very familiar with other sciences, and to tailor it to the science of homeopathy is a very difficult job. Only it can be achieved by the contribution, the collective contribution from the related scientists and related sciences. So that is what I want to say from the government side. And next is the future studies. What I want to talk about the future studies. Future studies, if you go through the Shankaran school, if you go to the Saigal school, if you go to through the Bengal school, and if you go to the Bombay school, we find that we will see that all are presenting the same thing. Only thing is that they are looking it in different angle, and they someone will call it predictive, some will call it mathematics, some will call it vital, and so like that way. I recently, when I go through the literature of Nash, Dr. E.B. Nash, a very wonderful teacher in homeopathy, he everywhere he said the material medica of particular remedy as ratio, a word coined by Dr. E.B. Nash. So the ratio, the core of the remedy, the picture of the remedy, the individualistic of the remedy, everything is the same thing. Only thing is that he called it as ratio, while any other teacher will call according to his whims and woes. So truth remains the same. It is as glittering as gold. Only it depends upon the eyes of the viewers. So I always looking ahead in especially the students from Kerala, because they all have the foundation, they all have the knowledge of English, they all have the requisite intuitive way of approach. The only thing is that as Keralites, we never recognize our contemporaries. We never publicly say that this doctor is very good. What he said in such a context is true. That is a very negative part of us, and we must learn to recognize whatever good things our science seekers, or what we call as contributors, say as what they have observed. So Future of homeopathy is very bright. I once asked my principal, late Dr. Leelavati Amma, Madam, after taking 45 minutes of case taking, after taking so much pains to arrive in a single remedy and giving one dose and all other placebos, I get rupees 15. This is the story of 90s, 80, 89, 90s, when I just passed out from our college and started my private practice. Immediately, my madam, I always, to me, she's like a mother, or she's like a great personality of in homeopathy. She immediately told me, Shajikutty, see, you got rupees 15, I got rupees 2. Nowadays, our youngsters get 100 rupees or 200 per case in an average. So future is very glittering. If you work hard, you will get multiples of 100. I got only multiples of 15. I remember Dr. Praful Vijayakar, when he started his career in Bombay, he got rupees 40. And when in his last time, if you want to see him, you have to give 4,000 rupees to get an appointment, which that also for a month back or 2 months back. So if you are ready to contribute, if you are ready to learn homeopathy, homeopathy will surely, I assure you, 100%, it will reward you with money, it will reward you with fame, it will reward you with name and everything. Only thing is that we have to keep the poise of being a student in homeopathy. I remember our great singer, Dr. Eshudas, one of the audience said, what you feel when you do a concert? He immediately said that, I remember in the seaside, in the vast ocean of knowledge of music, and I feel like spreading through all the atmosphere of the hall above the audiences, as if a child moves his finger, I can feel what is happening. So that much perseverance and that much what we call concentration is required in homeopathic prescription also. Then only you can make successful, very most similar prescriptions. So I pray all of our fighters in homeopathic learning, all of our BHMS candidates become wonderful prescribers of single remedy, wonderful prescribers of holding classical principles, wonderful followers of what Hahnemann has laid before us. So that is what I have to say about future studies, and few words about organon. Organon is the subject which has misinterpreted many times. So whenever we have difficulty in designing the strategy, we have to come to organon. I am not going into the details of that. Still, this book, once written by or once contributed by our master, not a single line or not a new aphorism is being added. Actually, in other sciences, it happens very often that like Old Testament, we get New Testament. It is not so. So something say new in homeopathy is very difficult. Still, even though we have the wonderful contributions from all over the world, we have the analysis, miasmatic cleavage, we have chocolate remedy, we have mobile, what we say as cell phone as remedy, we have plastic as remedy, and the 4,600 more remedies, whatever has been recorded, still remains a great thing to be memorized. So we must remain humble. We must remain that more remains before us to study. And Organon is the book which we have to be followed in its true spirit. So more and more topics are remaining regarding contemporary what we call as pathology and regarding pathological investigations and later technologies. Our fighters, our homeopaths also has to remain very open to understand, because what we have to keep it ourselves with at times to fight, to design, to present, to say new things, to explain homeopathic principle in the wordings of homeopathy, in the wordings of the science. So I request all of us to read latest journals, latest things, because reading has become very, 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 very least happening nowadays, because everybody has the computers with us. But those who had, I remember name of Dr. N.K. Jairam of Tripunitra. I remember Dr. Vidolkas. Great practitioners always read Boric 100 times. Great practitioners read Keynote 1000 times. I remember the sayings of Dr. K.V. John of Trivandrum, late Dr. K.V. John. He once he in a talk he told that before going to sleep, he read a remedy in the keynote. I was very much astonished. Thus, we are doing that in a day. So at least reading a remedy a day keeps us very much ahead in the homeopathic understanding. So I hope that I have talked a lot.